Huge breaking news. His team AH has wrecked themselves by filing a newer false police report against JD. You can see him right here. Suspect number 3, JD. There were others on this too. Well, not only did this get shut down, but it has backfired big time on Team AH. You and I, we are going to talk about that today for sure. Oh man, crazy fun times, huh? Crazy fun times indeed. All right, so hey there to all you fine folks on this fine day, by the way. I hope you are doing excellently. Man, Team AH has had so many things backfire recently that it feels like they're trying to perfect the art of the cell phone. See, I really want you to think about this. I mean, we saw JD vindicated against Team AH in everything that they said on one of the biggest stages possible. Remember, it dealt with false reports that included false police reports. So the police, I mean, they know what happened there. There was a lot of talk about them, a lot of talk about how they handled things, and people felt unanimously that they handled things correctly. Well, you have Team AH think that less than a month and a half after that verdict came in, remember the verdict comes in 06/01/2022, they decide a month and 12 days after on 07/13/2022 that they would go after JD yet again using the police. They noted him as a suspect here. He's noted as suspect number 3. You notice suspect number 1. You have Paul Baresi, because of course they love to go after him and say so many nasty things about him too. Other people that are mentioned here, they're not noted as suspects, but they're mentioned, include Adam Waldman and more. And they're saying, hey, you know, he actually is harassing us. In fact, they're all harassing and they're threatening us. Yeah, you know this isn't going to go wrong, right? Now, Paul Baresi, he posts about this on September 29th, 2022, after talking to the police department with this. He says, criminal complaint. And remember, that's exactly what this is. I mean, we use shorthand like a police filing or a police complaint, but really, it's an allegation of criminal behavior, something that could end you up in jail. This stuff should not and will not be taken lightly. There will be follow-up. We'll talk about that in just a moment. But criminal complaint filed against JD and Paul Baresi. Now, as far as he says, AH Simps, they were celebrating about this, and they were, by the way. I mean, you had so many of them out there celebrating. Oh, gotcha. I mean, really? You think this is a gotcha, right? Well, the police, they said, we're going to drop this. So dropped by Lancaster, South Carolina sheriff. And he also added that this was baseless. It was without merit. It should have never been taken. That's right. The report should have never been written down at all, according to the lead detective, Captain Mike Miller. Now, Team AH's backfire here goes well beyond a cell phone. This may actually end up with one of those Team AH members in jail. I mean, we're talking about people with extensive criminal histories. I mean, that's who's taking aim at JD, Adam Waldman, and others. Paul Baresi, he actually makes this clear here, too. I want you to read this letter with me. Lancaster Sheriff Department. Attention, Sheriff Barry Fell and Captain Mike Miller. Lancaster, South Carolina. Dear Sheriff Fell and Captain Miller, thank you both for taking time from your busy schedules fighting real crime to personally speak with me earlier this week regarding the false complaint of harassment filed against JD and me. On behalf of JD, his general counsel, Adam Waldman, and myself, we are grateful for your speedy arrival to the conclusion that the false complaint filed by elder abuser Richie Albertini, Aaron McKinney, and the most disgraced former police officer in Los Angeles Police Department history, Ruben Palomares, was determined to be without fact or basis and therefore, in Captain Miller's words, squashed. Yet when you look at those members of Team AH that are actually listed in this, you have your complainant themselves. And I would say they listed this complainant because if the witnesses were actually listed at the top, a giant red flag would have went up. Why? Because we're talking about two people with extensive criminal histories. People I would consider very dangerous, by the way. They're colluding on a narrative. They're conspiring to cause problems for JD, for Adam Waldman, for Paul Baresi. And this isn't the first time that we've seen Richie Albertini involved in this, which I'll talk about in just a second. Richie Albertini, though, he spent a lot of time in prison, and he would have spent a lot more time if he wasn't selling out other people. Best case scenario, those people that he was around, they were scammers, which are the lowest of the low. Worst case scenario, though, with the Team AH, the people that love to complain about misogyny, this guy sold out a friend of his that was, I'm going to call them an ender of women. Richie Albertini knew how he would lure people in. He knew so many things about them, but he didn't end up saying anything about it until it benefited himself, until you already had lives irreversibly damaged. Now, the other guy in this, too, this is Ruben Palomares. You should look this guy up. I mean, he's part of the Rampart scandal, the worst police corruption case in the history, I believe, of Los Angeles, probably really one of the worst in the entire world. I mean, we are talking about something that put a lot of police behind bars. They were doing all types of crazy stuff. You should read about that. They were dangerous, too. They were enforcing what they were doing on the streets. Essentially, they were compared to a gang. Yeah, you have these two people getting together to intimidate people. Again, that should be a giant red flag to police. And like I said, with Richie Albertini, this isn't his first rodeo. I mean, this guy, he actually filed false reports about myself. I didn't have a log of it where I live. He said I filed a 911 call. They didn't keep this thing on record. So you know what he did? Yeah, he and others, they actually posted where they had filed these. So again, this isn't the first time that he's done that. He called up the FBI on myself, putting in a false recording of that too. This guy should have action taken against him. I have reported him again and again. I'm going to report him with this. I'm going to also report him with the people that they're around here too. Yeah, I mean, this stuff backfires big time. And when it backfires, the other people that they've coordinated and colluded with, those people that have bragged about this online, that might not be a fun day for them either. Yeah, you talk about messing up. This has gone sideways. They thought they were going to take down JD, Adam Waldman, Paul Baresi. It ends up putting them right in the jackpot. But anyway, let me know what you think about this stuff. And as always, appreciate the heck out of you. You make this stuff work. Thank you. Can't say that enough. Want to help out the channel? Check out the links in the description. We could always use your help. But you being here, biggest help of all. Thank you. I appreciate you. We will. See you soon.